There are signs of optimism when it comes to the strained tensions between Canada and India. They come from Canada's ambassador to the United Nations, Bob Rae, who spoke with his counterpart from India earlier today. The CBC's Chris Reyes is in New York with the details.
The last day of speeches here at the UN General Assembly General Debate had both Canada and India on the same morning schedule. Now, the two countries haven't really crossed paths much at this week's UNGA. Prime Minister Narendra Modi did not attend the event. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was here last week, but focused much of his time on the Sustainable Development Goals, which means there hasn't really been much opportunity to address these very serious allegations coming from the Canadian government, linking India to the killing of Canadian citizen and Sikh activist Hardeep Nijjar. But today, both the Canadian and Indian delegation were in the same room at the General Assembly Hall. They remained in their seats as their representatives gave speeches. Canada's ambassador to the UN, Bob Rae, delivered the address. And I asked him after the speech, did he feel any tension between the two parties? He said quite the opposite.
The Indian ambassador made a point at the end of my speech in coming over and thanking me for the speech, thanking me for my strong voice, thanking me for speaking that issues that we both believe are important. And then she pulled me aside to say it's important that we keep working together as the governments try to work out the situation that has to be worked on.
In his speech, India's External Affairs Minister did not make any mention of Canada, but he did call for trust and respect between nations, particularly when it comes to internal affairs.
Nor must we countenance that political convenience determines responses to terrorism, extremism, and violence. Similarly, respect for territorial integrity and non-interference in internal affairs cannot be exercises in cherry-picking. When reality departs from the rhetoric, we must have the courage to call it out.
Minister Jaishankar, after his speech to the General Assembly, did hold a conversation event at the Council of Foreign Relations here in New York City. He was asked several times about those allegations coming from the Canadian government, and he stopped short of denying them altogether, but had this to say.
One, we told the Canadians that this is not the Government of India's policy. Two, we told the Canadians saying that, look, if you have something specific, if you have something relevant, let us know. We are open to looking at it. If somebody gives me something specific, it doesn't have to be restricted to Canada. But if there's any incident which, is an issue, and somebody gives me something specific as a government, I would look at it.
And that means the only official statement coming so far from the Indian government is coming from the Office of External Affairs in the form of a statement calling the allegations absurd that came last week.